The overall rise in the cost of goods and services over time is referred to as inflation. In essence, it means that as time passes, your money will buy you less things. Inflation is mostly under control thanks to central banks like the Federal Reserve in the U.S. Peter Schiff has issued a warning on a market crisis that would be much more destructive than the one in 2008. Let's explore further. In the intricate interplay between inflation, central banks, and the money supply, Peter Schiff's statement emphasizes the crucial and frequently disregarded function of production. In the U.S., the Federal Reserve is a major factor in regulating inflation. By controlling the money supply, or the total amount of money in circulation within an economy, they do this. Peter Schiff is arguing that the question does not give enough weight to the significance of production. On investigating this idea piece by piece, we have got some exciting information. When there are too many people seeking too few products, inflation results. People are willing to pay more for the same things when there is an excess of money in the economy, which drives up prices. To manage the amount of money in circulation, central banks employ measures like interest rates and open market activities. To affect inflation, they can alter the amount of money in circulation. For instance, they may lower the money supply to calm the economy if inflation is too high. Producing things and services is referred to as production. More goods are accessible when the economy produces more, which can keep prices stable or even bring them down. Fewer goods are available when production is low or ineffective, which can lead to inflation. This occurs when there is persistently low supply and a high demand. According to Schiff, production's impact on inflation is frequently underappreciated. In plainer terms, he's suggesting that even while central banks are working to limit the money supply, inflation issues may arise if we don't concentrate on generating enough goods and services. He thinks that policymakers and central banks ought to focus more on the production side of the equation. Inflation may not be controlled by excessive money supply management alone if production is low. A strong economy depends on production. An economy's ability to generate more increases employment opportunities, promotes economic expansion, and supports price stability. We may not effectively address the cause of inflation if we downplay or disregard the significance of production and rely entirely on central banks to do so. Consider a situation where a nation's supply chain is disrupted, making it difficult to produce commodities effectively. As a result, there is a product shortage. Because there aren't enough goods and services available to match the money in circulation, the central bank may fail to avoid inflation, even if it tries to restrict the money supply. This is a practical illustration of how production, or a lack thereof, can have a big impact on inflation. We have seen a discernible reduction in production recently. Concerningly, it appears that people are doing less. This decreased production is especially troubling since it has combined with the COVID-19 relief program, which are supported by the government, to form a fairly poisonous combination. This toxic combination is making the already serious economic issue of excessive inflation even worse. Numerous changes occurred in our life as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, both personally and financially. The establishment of aid initiatives by the government was one important response to the pandemic. These initiatives attempted to offer financial aid to individuals hurt by the pandemic's effects. These programs clearly had the best of intentions and were important, but they unintentionally changed the productivity landscape. There are various causes for the decrease in production. First of all, the epidemic compelled many firms to change their operating procedures. Many employees were forced to work remotely due to lockdowns and social isolation measures. This changeover wasn't always seamless. Many people found it difficult to continue working at the same pace as they did in the typical office environment. The difficulty was exacerbated by the blending of work and personal life. Our capacity to concentrate and work at our best was hampered by the anxiety and uncertainty around the virus itself. Understandably, a lot of people were concerned about their own and their loved ones' health. Such worries can be a big distraction, which makes it hard to focus on professional activities. The pandemic-related economic slowdown caused many people to lose their jobs and experience financial difficulties. Constant financial stress might reduce productivity as other duties are prioritized over the need to maintain a regular income. On the other hand, people in need received crucial financial assistance from government-funded relief programs. Even though these initiatives provided many people with a lifeline, they unintentionally may have discouraged them from working. There was less incentives to go back to work when people received benefits that were occasionally more substantial than their pre-pandemic incomes. Although vital, this kind of help might unintentionally have led to the fall in total output. The oil and gas businesses have been significantly impacted by lax climate change regulations that have been in place since 2015. Investment in conventional fossil fuels have been hampered by these policies, which aim to cut greenhouse gas emission and mitigate climate change. As a result, the energy landscape has undergone a noticeable change, with an increased focus on renewable energy sources like wind and solar power. However, this change has resulted in some unanticipated difficulties. A major increase in commodity costs have been one of the effects of the quick development and demand for renewable energy component parts, such as lithium for batteries. These fundamental elements are necessary for the development of renewable energy technologies, which are fundamental to the shift to a more sustainable future. At the same time, there's a severe mineral deficit that is needed to produce these components. The International Energy Agency cited the underdevelopment of essential minerals mining as a major worry in their research papers from 2021. Rare earth elements and other essential minerals for technology and renewable energy are in short supply, and this shortage has increased the cost of those minerals. The entire energy industry has been impacted by the rise in commodity prices, especially those associated with renewable energy. It's significant to highlight that these factors are also related to the increase in oil prices. While we may anticipate that the oil business would suffer from ineffective climate regulations, the truth is more complicated. Large discrepancies between oil demand and actual oil supply have been caused by the quick development and demand for renewable energy component parts. Numerous nations have implemented emission reduction programs to combat climate change since 2015. These regulations dissuade financial investment in conventional oil and gas. With a special focus on lithium-based technology like batteries, the demand for renewable energy has been rising quickly. The cost of various commodities, including lithium, has increased as a result of the significant increase in demand for renewable energy components. The International Energy Agency has called attention to the dearth of essential minerals required for renewable energy technology. Surprisingly, the increase in commodity prices has also pushed up oil prices, along with mismatches in supply and demand. The interaction of these elements demonstrates how intertwined the energy sector is. Although the goal of climate regulations is to lessen reliance of fossil fuels, this has unintentionally resulted in a rise in demand for the minerals and other materials required for renewable energy systems. The oil and gas market has been impacted as a result. The intricate network of connections highlights the demand for a more thorough and substantial strategy to the energy transition. It's crucial to strike a balance between the transition to renewable energy and the crucial mineral supply chain. To overcome these obstacles, governments and businesses must collaborate, putting an emphasis on ethical sourcing, recycling, and creating long-term solutions for the energy sector. Despite official denials from central banks, there has recently been a major rise in inflation and the amount of money in circulation. The rising price of natural gas and oil, as well as the enormous money printing programs implemented by federal governments, are all strongly related to this phenomenon. The United States is on the verge of having a staggering national debt of $30 trillion. As noted economist Peter Schiff has noted, these intricate economic problems have wide-range effects on how people live their lives and how the economy is doing as a whole. Let's now talk about the enormous national debt that Peter Schiff has brought up. The entire sum of money a government owes to different creditors is known as national debt. When a country's debt totals a startling $30 trillion, it raises questions about the viability of the economy. This massive debt load may result in greater interest payments, which would then necessitate increased government spending in the long run. This cycle may lead to more taxes or a reduction in public services via increasing economic pressure. The federal government's substantial money printing is another important aspect affecting the current economic climate. Government money printing increases have the potential to cause an economic currency glut. Simply said, if there is too much money in circulation, its value will decline and inflation may result. Many governments turn to the practice of printing money to provide financial relief in order to address economic problems like the COVID-19 epidemic. While this was required, the inflation it may cause could have negative effects on the economy. Well, what would you do if you had an economical situation like this? Comment your thoughts below in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed watching our content, then please like, share, and subscribe to our channel.